The sun blazed fiercely as President Ibrahim Traoré and his security team traveled down a dusty road. They had been driving since early morning, attending multiple events, shaking hands, delivering speeches. Everyone felt exhausted, but Ibrahim Traoré felt something else. He was extremely hungry. Sitting quietly in the back seat of his black SUV, he spoke, "I need food. I can't bear this anymore." One of his guards, a tall man with sharp, observant eyes, immediately responded, "Sir, there's an upscale restaurant not far from here. Very clean, very secure." Another guard added quickly, "Your sir, only VIPs dine there. It's the best in town." President Ibrahim Traoré gently shook his head, a faint smile on his face. "No, I don't trust those places. Too many eyes watching me. In those fancy restaurants, anything can happen." The guards exchanged uneasy glances. One whispered, "But sir, a regular restaurant is risky." "I said no," Ibrahim replied, calm but firm. "Find me a simple spot, a small local restaurant where ordinary people eat." Without further protest, they obeyed. In 10 minutes, their vehicle stopped beside an old, modest restaurant. The faded signboard creaked as the wind blew. The air was rich with the aroma of fried fish and spicy stew. Ordinary people sat beneath the shade, laughing, eating. Ibrahim smiled warmly. "This is real life," he remarked. Stepping out of the vehicle, his guards surrounded him swiftly, discreetly trying not to attract much attention. An elderly man with graying hair and tired eyes approached, welcoming them. "Good afternoon, my sons. Come sit. We serve the finest food in town." They chose a table in the corner. The guard scanned the surroundings cautiously, ensuring it was safe. The restaurant owner, nervous yet thrilled to host such distinguished guests, hurried into the kitchen. Moments later, a steaming plate of rice and stew arrived, placed gently before President Ibrahim. The delicious aroma made his mouth water. He picked up his spoon, ready to take his first bite, when suddenly, from nowhere, an elderly woman appeared. Her clothes were torn, her body frail. Walking with a slight limp, without uttering a word, she approached the table, snatched the president's plate, and hurled it to the floor. The guards leapt to their feet, hands reaching for their weapons. The customers gasped. Some even stood, eyes wide, watching the scene unfold. "How dare you?" one guard shouted. "Punish her," another snapped. But Ibrahim calmly raised his hand. "No," he ordered. "Let her be. She's someone's mother. Perhaps she's mentally unwell." Reluctantly, the guards lowered their weapons, though their faces showed frustration. The woman stood still, breathing heavily, her eyes fixed on Ibrahim. The restaurant owner, trembling with fear, bowed repeatedly. "Sir, I'm so sorry. Please, allow me to bring fresh food." Within minutes, another hot plate of food was placed before the president. Again, as he lifted his spoon, the old woman lunged forward. This time she grabbed the plate, sat down on the floor, and hungrily devoured the meal. With her bare hands, the woman continued. The guards finally lost patience. "This has gone on long enough," one shouted, stepping forward to grab her again. But Ibrahim raised his hand, stopping them. "Let her be," he spoke softly. "If she is hungry, let her eat." The other customers whispered quietly among themselves. Some believed the woman was insane. Others thought it was a bad omen. The embarrassed restaurant owner returned with a third plate of food. The aroma was even more tempting this time. The rice steamed perfectly, and the meat looked tender and delicious. Once more, Ibrahim reached for the spoon. Before he could taste the food, the old woman slowly rose to her feet. Her eyes, now sharp and steady, not wild as before, locked onto him. She spoke with strength and seriousness. "Young man," she addressed him, unaware that he was the president. "If you value your life, do not eat that food. Something terrible will happen if you do." The entire restaurant went completely silent. You could hear the faintest sound in the room. President Ibrahim stared at her, irritation growing inside him. He had shown her patience. He had shown her respect. But now, she was pushing boundaries. "I am hungry, old woman," he replied, his voice cool and sharp. "I've tolerated your behavior. But how dare you stand there and tell me not to eat? Ta. Woman stood her ground, unmoving, her eyes filled with sorrow and something else, fear. If you eat it, you will regret it, she warned again. The guards were furious now. One stepped forward to seize the woman, but again, Ibrahim signaled them to stop. His eyes narrowed, fixed on her. Something in her words unsettled him, stirred something deep inside. Bring me the owner of this restaurant, he instructed. The old man hurried over, his hands trembling. Yes, sir? Who prepared this food? Ibrahim asked firmly. My wife, sir. She is the cook, the owner answered nervously. Call her, Ibrahim ordered. The man rushed to the kitchen. Minutes later, a woman appeared, apron tied around her waist, a shaky, nervous smile on her face. Fear clung to her, like a shadow. Did you prepare this meal yourself? Ibrahim questioned. Yes, sir, she stuttered. Show me your hands, he demanded. Confused, she held out her palms. Ibrahim inspected them, then looked up at her face. Sweat trickled down her forehead. Her eyes darted anxiously, like a cornered animal. You're lying, Ibrahim stated calmly. In the corner, the old woman nodded slowly, confirming his suspicion. The restaurant owner stared in disbelief. My wife, she would never. President Ibrahim stood abruptly. Search the kitchen. He commanded the guards. Within minutes, they discovered something concealed beneath the cooking counter. A small bottle marked with a black skull poison. The guards seized the woman. She collapsed to the floor, weeping and pleading for forgiveness. Between sobs, she confessed everything. Some men had bribed her to poison a special guest rumored to be passing through town. They had no idea that guest would be the president himself. The crowd gasped in shock. Some broke into prayer, others wept openly. Ibrahim turned to the old woman, his heart burning with shame. He'd nearly gambled away his life by ignoring her. Slowly, he approached her, and to everyone's astonishment, knelt before her. Mother, he whispered, his eyes brimming with tears. In his eyes, it was clear, you've saved my life. The old woman responded with nothing but a gentle smile. President Ibrahim. Traoré stood still, silent, before the frail woman. All around them, people gawked in disbelief, some whispering, some pointing. The restaurant buzzed with noise and chatter, yet Ibrahim's attention remained fixed only on her. Mother, he spoke softly. Please, come with me. Without waiting for a reply, he gently took her hand and led her towards a quiet, hidden corner behind the restaurant, away from prying eyes. His security team followed close behind. But Ibrahim raised his hand to stop them. Stay back, he commanded. Now alone with the old woman. He asked, his voice low and serious. How did you know the food was poisoned? And how? How did you even know to come here? The old woman looked at him, her eyes wise yet weary. My son, she replied gently. I see what others fail to see. She paused, then added, Last night I had a dream. I saw you sitting at a table about to eat food that would take your life. I saw darkness surrounding you, so I came. I had to save you. Ibrahim stood frozen, unable to speak. A chill ran down his spine, but the old woman wasn't finished. Her voice deepened with warning as she leaned in closer, whispering, You must be cautious. Not everyone near you wishes you well. Some of your own guards, they smile to your face, but behind your back, they carry knives. Ibrahim's eyes widened in disbelief. His heartbeat quickened. These were men he had trusted with his life, men he had fought beside for years. That's impossible, he muttered, his voice shaky. The old woman shook her head sadly. Your wife warned you once, remember? She saw the signs, but like many men, you refused to listen. Ibrahim gasped, his mouth falling open in shock. His wife, gentle, wise, had once confessed her doubts. She had sensed something wrong. But he had laughed it off, saying, You worry too much, my love. These men, they would give their lives for me. And now, standing face to face with this humble, old woman, her words struck him like a hammer to the chest. How do you know all this? He asked, his voice trembling with fear. The old woman smiled again, her expression kind but firm. I know many things, my son. I've walked this earth for many. Years I've seen kings rise, kings fall. I've witnessed betrayal in places you'd never expect. I see what others cannot. Ibrahim's knees weakened beneath him. He sank onto a cracked bench nearby, burying his head in his hands. Who could he trust now? Who was true and who was hiding behind false smiles? The old woman gently placed a hand on his shoulder. Do not fear, she comforted him. God spared you today. He's granted you another chance. But now, you must open your eyes. Ibrahim lifted his head, eyes shimmering with gratitude. Mother, I won't let you go. From this day forward, you will live with me. You will stay close. I need your wisdom. The old woman chuckled softly. Me, living in a palace? I am but a poor old woman. You, Ibrahim replied firmly, are worth more than all the gold I own. You saved my life. You opened my eyes. At that moment, some of his guards came running towards them. Sir, the local police have arrived, the aide reported. They've taken into custody the woman who tried to poison you. Ibrahim rose to his feet and replied, Good, make sure she receives the punishment she deserves and find out who sent her. Yes, sir, the guards answered. Ibrahim turned to the elderly woman beside him. Come, let's get out of here. He personally opened the car door for her, leaving even his guards speechless. Never before had they seen the president act this way towards anyone. Inside the vehicle, the old woman sat silently next to him, her eyes gazing out at the passing city streets. Ibrahim observed her closely. There was a simplicity about her, yet she carried an invisible strength, greater than anything he had encountered before. As the car moved along, the old woman spoke once more. Her tone was gentle, yet filled with authority. My son, power is dangerous. It draws both light and darkness. You must stay grounded. Listen to your wife more. Never let pride block your ears. Ibrahim nodded with sincerity. I promise. Mother, the guards remained puzzled. Who was this old woman? Why was their president treating her like nobility? When they finally arrived at the presidential residence, Ibrahim personally helped the woman out of the car. The staff members at the mansion stood frozen, stunned to witness the nation's most powerful man walking hand in hand with a poor elderly woman. Prepare a room for her, Ibrahim ordered. The best room you have. Yes, sir, they all replied in unison. Later that night, alone in his private study, Ibrahim sat deep in thought. His mind raced with questions. He reflected on the faces of his guards, men who had laughed with him, shared meals, and vowed to protect him. Now, suspicion crept into his heart. Which of them might be plotting to betray him? He shook his head in quiet sorrow. Trust, he thought, is like glass. Shattered, it can never be fully whole again. By morning, President Ibrahim Traoré awoke. With a changed spirit, sleep had barely touched him through the night. His mind kept circling back to the old woman's warning. Some of your guards cannot be trusted. He summoned a private meeting. Only the most loyal guards were permitted inside the presidential chamber. The old woman sat silently in a corner, now dressed in a clean, fresh gown provided by the mansion staff. The guards entered, standing tall with pride. They had served him for years. None of them, surely, would dare deceive him. Ibrahim studied each face carefully. Some wore smiles, some appeared stern. But now he noticed something he had never seen before. Secrets hidden behind their eyes. The old woman's voice broke the silence, soft yet commanding. Tell them to swear before God that no evil dwells in their hearts for you, she advised. Ibrahim nodded firmly. Step forward one by one. And swear to me, to God, that you bear no wicked intentions toward me, he ordered. A chill filled the room. The first guard approached with confidence, placed his hand upon the Bible, and swore his loyalty. He seemed sincere, Ibrahim believed. Him, the second followed. He too swore the oath, but his hand quivered faintly. The old woman's sharp eyes noticed immediately. The third guard stepped up. His voice was bold, yet his eyes shifted nervously. Sweat beaded on his brow. As the fourth guard came forward, the old woman rose to her feet. That one, she declared, pointing firmly at the third guard. Question him. Say it again, Ibrahim ordered, his heart pounding. His voice cut sharp through the room. The third guard trembled, his knees buckling beneath him. Suddenly, the man collapsed to the floor, tears streaming down his face. "Please, forgive me, sir," he wept. "They forced me. They promised me wealth. They said if I helped poison you, my family would never suffer again." His sobs echoed through the hall. The room erupted with noise. Some guards shouted in fury, others cursed the fallen man. Ibrahim stood frozen, his heart weighed down with betrayal. This was someone he had trusted, someone he had once called a brother. "Who are they?" Ibrahim's voice came low, but steady. "Foreign enemies," the man cried, voice cracking. "People who despise you for standing with the poor. They see how you're changing the nation. They fear you. They want you gone." Ibrahim clenched his jaw. His fists tightened, but his expression stayed composed. Anger would achieve nothing now. Turning to his chief of security, he commanded, "Take him. Find every name involved." "Sir," came the reply. The traitor was dragged away, his cries fading down the corridor. A heavy silence settled over the room. Slowly, the old woman approached Ibrahim, placing a gentle hand on his shoulder. "Remember this, my son," she whispered. "The most powerful men rarely fall to the swords of their enemies, but to the false smiles of their friends." Ibrahim bowed his head with respect. "Once again, you have saved me, mother," he said, voice filled with emotion. "I owe you my life." Tears welled up in the old woman's eyes. "I've only done what the Almighty sent me to do," she replied softly. Facing the remaining guards, Ibrahim straightened his back. From today onward, he declared firmly, loyalty won't be measured by years served, but by the honesty within your hearts. The guards nodded, a mixture of fear and respect etched into their faces. After the meeting, Ibrahim led the old woman to the garden behind the presidential mansion. They sat beneath the shade of a towering tree, the fresh breeze wrapping around them. He turned to her gently, "Mother." The old woman smiled, warmth in her eyes. "Live wisely, my son. Serve your people with love. That is all I ask." But Ibrahim's heart wanted to give her more. He called for his wife and children. They arrived, surprised to see the old woman beside the president. "Is your new grandmother?" Ibrahim announced with pride. The children's faces lit up. They ran to her, hugging her with joy. His wife smiled warmly, eyes soft with gratitude for the woman who had saved her husband's life. From that day, the old woman lived within the presidential mansion, cherished and honored by all. She was given a beautiful room, clean clothes, delicious food, and kind people to care for her. But beyond all the comfort, what truly filled her heart was having a family again, something lost to her many years before. Each evening, Ibrahim would visit her, sitting by her side like a little boy, eager to listen to her stories, soaking in wisdom no textbook could offer. Slowly, Ibrahim transformed as a leader, more thoughtful, more compassionate, yet stronger than ever. He learned to trust with care. He listened with patience. And he worked harder to uplift the poor and fight injustice. The people's love for him only grew, dear viewers. If this story touched your heart, don't forget to click subscribe, like the video, share it with your friends, and hit the notification bell so you'll always be the first to see when we share more inspiring stories like this. Thank you for watching.